Alison, would you move in?
Certainly.
There we go.
I was just listening, I guess, to your questions that you have, and it just reinforces to me the day that we were in the federal court on the 19th of March, when my husband brought up a main issue of the violence restraining order, and what I found quite difficult to comprehend, that in a room full where there was journalists, how many of you were there that day? You? Anyone else? Okay, so we have one person here. That in that Judge Barker, a judge of his calibre, the calibre of the federal court, to completely trivialise and demean a violence restraining order which isn't given out lightly, and the message that he conveyed to the room full of people, of which the majority were journalists like you guys, professionals, and your job is to get the message out, and not one of those journalists picked up the message that that judge gave and put it across in the media to the people. Now, violence restraining orders are not given out lightly, and you have demeaned and trivialised every man and woman who has a violence restraining order out there. And yet you guys, the professionals, which are you, are meant to be journalists, I'm sorry, I haven't finished yet, said nothing about it. And the very next day we had a woman stabbed to death at Joondalup Court, and yet there was a little snippet of that. So if a judge of his calibre puts a message across like that to the Australian people, Western Australian people, and the media do not pick up on that and read between the lines and put it out there and say, we need to educate the people, and this may be the only way, we need to educate our courts, are the messages that are given, and that you pick up and do about it. I was actually really dismayed that people of your profession did absolutely nothing about that.
Well, in that vein, how did you feel yesterday, the man across the street you had a VRO against?
It was all set up. It was set up. It was a play of action. There was no media at the beginning, and we had the West Australian there with a journalist and with, I think, a freelance photographer, I've seen it before, and with Anthony Fells having all done that. Now, the staff that we had there had already seen Frank Batola and Anthony Fells shake hands and give each other a little knowing nod and took off beforehand. I let my children go out early so that they don't have to be photographed or anything, and there's Anthony Fells telling the journalists that's their kids. Snap, snap, snap. Now, what calibre of journalism is that?
So do you feel persecuted? Do you feel chased? Do you feel put upon?
I have a violence restraining order for a very reason, to protect my family, okay? And I've learnt a lot about how it operates. And yes, I will use that as much as I can. I'm not having my house terrorised, trespassed, my children terrorised, my husband, his workplace, my workplace and the staff here.